Throughout our lives, I believe many of us have gone through the issue of bullying or at least witnessed it happen to others. More than often, this takes place in school. When it comes to the case of being bullied, there are a few outcomes that will happen. One being the person will fall victim to having low self-esteem and living their lives out as those who feel boxed in and intimidated by their suppressors. Not only being the victim themselves, but also when witnessing it happen to others, they'll keep their head down in the shadows to avoid becoming the next target. Then, there are those who will rise above this behavior and transform themselves, so they no longer feel suppressed, whether this be by changing themselves physically or outsmarting those who they think are above them. If I had to choose a few words to give a small description of this story, I think these words would fit. Weak Hero takes place in the setting of a high school filled with delinquents. Our main character being Gray Yeon. Gray is a special kind of character. Our first impression of him is by the viewpoint of a delinquent, saying he looks like a girl, short and pale. He even has long eyelashes and his name sounds feminine. Just like a delinquent, he gets up and grabs Gray from behind on his chest, trying to pull all but a practical joke, saying he's a man alright, trying to suppress him. But in the midst of all this, we got our first taste of the main character, Gray Yeon. Gray elbowing this bully in the throat and tying him up by his arms, kicking him in his legs and taking him down to his knees, ferociously slapping him and combating this bully's useless verbal threats with, "You don't get it, do you? If you dare make a scene in this classroom again, I'll gouge your eyes out." This is our first introduction to the main character. Unlike many typical protagonists we see, who often have the viewpoint of participating in fair fights, Gray is different. He understands his disadvantages physically, but makes up for this with his extremely high intelligence and what many would call underhanded tactics, using whatever he can to his advantage in the form of a weapon. As we can see throughout the story, Gray is calculating, and for the most part he tries to keep a calm head, not acting purely on emotion, but instead analyzes his situation and sees whether or not he's in a beneficial position and uses his surroundings to his advantage. This is shown to us when he encounters multiple delinquent kids and he keeps his cool and grabs one of them by the bottom of their pants and pulls them forward, making them fall backwards. In the process, then stepping on him and kicking him in the head like a kicker in a football game. Following up, he throws sand into another one of their eyes and proceeds to smash their eye with his cell phone, finishing off the last one with his belt like a father getting ready to discipline his children in the Caribbean. Gray, we often see when he's at school, he always has his head in a book. Outside of school, he goes to cram school, and even at home, he's studying. Comparing Gray to his surroundings, some would probably think to themselves, if he's so smart, why'd he end up in such a horrible school and terrible environment? This is even questioned by the friends that Gray is around, wondering who and what's his story. In due time, we do learn about his past and why he ended up in such a school, as to why he's always studying. What I like about Weak Hero is it doesn't just focus on the main character. Instead, it puts other characters in the spotlight and focuses on their backstory, as well as their development and experiences through their point of view. As we see the other characters unfold, we also see the main character grow and gain allies or friends, a feeling which he long missed. I truly love Gray's character, because he doesn't fall into the typical character trope compared to other Korean manhwa or webtoon in this genre, that typically being many characters start off weak and being bullied physically and psychologically. He doesn't fall victim to these bullies. Unlike these weak-minded characters, Gray is very smart and uses this to his advantage, analyzing and taking advantage of the main weaknesses that these bullies have, being their overconfidence, which leads to them letting their guard down because they think everyone will shiver in fear in their presence, not believing anyone has a pair to fight back. Not only this, but even those being bullied, Gray even tells them to grow a pair, which I truly resonate with, giving a lesson in itself, being, if you never try to change and stand up for yourself, nothing will change. Many of the bullied shuttles in the story, we often see their inner thoughts being, they'll get them back someday, or I just have to hold out until graduation. I would say this is off topic, but it truly resonates with the story, and I do want viewers to understand that if you think it's as simple as waiting it out while being tortured by others, it's unfortunate to say, but it's not that easy, because we all do witness even in real life. Those who are pushovers, timid, and have the mindset stay this way. Once a pushover, always a pushover. Life's a food chain, and those at the bottom will stay at the bottom because they lack the confidence and believe things will change even if they do nothing. In Weak Hero, there are honestly so many characters, I wouldn't be able to cover them all, but what I like is that the author, most of the time, fully utilizes these characters when implementing them into the story, even if not for long. As we progress through the story, even in the early chapters, we learn of a specific group called the Union, which seems to cause a lot of issues around the school district, consisting of some of the strongest delinquent students and the leader being the strongest one, Donald Na, who runs everything. Donald Na, even though he's a delinquent, he's also very smart and calculative, and the strongest fighter we've been introduced to. If you haven't read the story, you would wonder why he has so much influence, and the simple answer would be along the lines of, he's strong and he has money. Donald Na, it is implied that he had a dark childhood. When we're shown flashbacks of him as a child in unkempt condition while chewing on a piece of bread while sitting on the ground in a store with glass shattered. This group is a major part of the story and it's constantly mentioned. Even though we're about 100 chapters deep, we don't know too much about the the Union as to what their specific goal is, but we do get a lot of insight from characters such as Ben Park after specific events take place that he needs to take down the Union and Donald Nah. If you were to ask me the main focus of the story and what I believe the true point is, I would be able to give you a summary in a very simple manner, but at the same time, it wouldn't do the story justice. Purely because there are stories that are easy to summarize, but you can't put into words the journey taking place within the reading without reading it yourself. It's as easy as saying the story is about Gray, a student who just wants a quiet life where he can study, but is dragged into the bad environment of school and the surrounding schools. Although this wouldn't do the justice of the characters, which truly makes the story, as we watch Gray change, as he makes new friends and opens up about his backstory, creating new allies. Watching as he rises the ranks, creeping to the top, where there are those who will target him because he looks easy, but he continues to crush everyone put in his way, when at first he was dismissed as being a nobody and not even a threat. Even though Gray does truly want a quiet life, as his character progresses, he does eventually, specifically in the more recent chapters, start to find enjoyment in fighting. Honestly, as you read, you start to wonder when the two characters being Gray Yeon and Donald Nah will meet, because even now in the most recent chapters, Donald Nah has no idea who Gray is, and vice versa. It adds a certain spice to what you think will truly happen in the future when they do meet, dragging you in and putting you on the edge of your seat, just waiting to see what will happen. The one thing I can give you as readers and fans of webtoons and manga is that if you're interested in stories that revolve around fighting, especially in a school life setting, this is definitely a recommendation I can make. And even if you're not, I suggest you read the first 5 chapters at least and decide whether or not you like it. The story is honestly very entertaining, and if you like stories like Unordinary and The Boxer, even though the story doesn't involve superpowers, I do think you would enjoy this webtoon. I hope you guys truly enjoyed this video, and I want you guys to subscribe and hit that like button, because all of the content that I make like this does take some time just scripting it and editing it together, even though it might not seem like it because the video lengths might just be shorter and, you know, sometimes the visuals aren't super amazing or spectacular. I'm still getting used to this and getting used to it. Other than all that, I hope you guys just show your appreciation by liking and commenting down below. Other than all that, also join my Discord and my Patreon if you want to support me. I'm not trying to keep you guys for too long, so talk to y'all next time. Peace out.